you spoke in the book about how depression isn't kind of actually necessarily one of the biggest factors, especially due to that, the crisis suicides and stuff. But it is a large factor, isn't it? What is depression from a medical perspective?
Yeah, so I just want to clarify. So there's, first of all, having a bad day. So, maybe, we don't get the result we want in the test. Maybe our boss tells us we haven't done very well on the job. And a lot of us feel pretty flat. Maybe some of us even cry. Some of us feel pretty down on days like that. And we need to be really clear that is a normal part of life. So, unfortunately, life is filled with problems. That is not the illness depression. When it becomes the illness depression, it really starts to affect your functioning. So things like when you can't eat, when you can't sleep, thoughts of not wanting to be alive, not being able to concentrate, all these things actually become an illness. And the way I define this is, if all of us go for a run around the block, we'd get out of breath. That's normal, that's a part of life. But if we couldn't get our breath back, we could be having an asthma attack or a heart attack. And really with depression, we all have bad days, but some people, unfortunately, those bad days go on, and there's little reprieve from that. We found that depression is not an imaginary illness. There is a part of the brain called the hippocampus. This is one of the parts of the brain we use for memory and emotion. And researchers have found that if this part of the brain, if someone develops depression, this part of the brain can shrink by up to 17%. So there are very real and very significant changes that happen when someone develops depression. So this is not an imaginary illness. This is very real.
Yeah. Do you think people are throwing words like depression, anxiety, various other labels around too frivolously these days?
We certainly know that these things are very common, but it's really important to be aware of, I think, one of the things I've challenged some young people around to say, if they don't get the mark they want on a test, they say, I'm so depressed. And I try and encourage them to change that terminology to something along the lines of, instead of you're really depressed, you had a bad day, or at the moment, things didn't go to plan. So we do need to be really clear that we describe mental illness as a medical condition because there are serious changes. So we do need to be very clear about that. Yeah.
It's oh God, I'm actually a bit apprehensive to even talk about it because it can just be jumped on and taken in the wrong way. Because I totally think that mental health needs talking about and needs light shining on it, but also at the same time it needs defining. And people need to actually understand it, because I think that, it's kind of like, when, especially in the teenage years, when you're searching for an identity, things like being anxious or depressed can almost like become your identity, and you can use it as a mechanism to get things that you want when you might not actually necessarily be actually experiencing those things. I know in my life, I've certainly used things as to kind of work in my favor, and even labeled myself with things when I was younger, like dyslexic, because I didn't want to read in class when I definitely wasn't dyslexic. And I think that, like you mentioned, the careful definition of what depression is and the fact that it's something that is ongoing is important things to know. And I think in the book you say it has, when it actually starts to have lasting negative consequences on your life and the lives of people around you. So I know addiction's the same as that. It's when it actually starts to have negative effects on your life and those around you.